What is up, Sopranos fans? Kino here, and I am back with another Soprano log. Today we are looking at the 10th episode of the 5th season, Cold Cuts. Tony's guys are waiting at Port Newark for a shipment of Vespa scooters. They're supposed to split the load with New York, but they never show up. When Tony goes to confront Johnny Sack about this, he denies ever getting the Vespas, but he's very cheeky, and he's basically hinting to Tony that he doesn't believe Tony's story about Tony B. He thinks that he was the one who did the hit on Joey Peeps, and this is his kind of revenge, is that he's hurting Tony financially. Tony sends his guys down there to figure out what happened. They beat up this security guard, and they find out that the shipment was taken by New York, so Johnny Sack was definitely lying to Tony. When Tony learns this, and he learns that they're going to continue to lose money from New York taking things from the port, he flips out in front of his men. He looks deranged, and we're getting the sense that Tony has some real anger issues here. Later on, he beats Georgie for saying something stupid like he always does, but he goes too far. He really lets him have it. The guys have to pull him off Georgie, and he ends up causing permanent hearing damage. This gets Georgie to finally quit the Bing, and he says he never wants to see Tony again, which has Tony feeling really bad. But again, he really does deserve it because, man, this is some employer abuse right here. Janice also has rage issues this episode. At a soccer game, she gets into a fight with another mother when the mother's kid trips Sophia. She ends up getting arrested, and her name is all across the news. They do a whole story on her, and Tony flips out even more now that his name and their family's crime is brought to the media attention. He doesn't like it. Bobby tells Janice that she's bringing tension into their home. It was a peaceful home before she moved in there, and he tells her that she has to go to anger management or their relationship is not going to work out. Meanwhile, Christopher is resentful of Tony's favoritism towards Tony B. It's pretty ironic given the fact that he used to be getting all the benefits from being the favorite cousin. But now that Tony B is around and Tony B got the casino, he's pretty jealous. Tony tells them that they have to go up to Uncle Pat's farm. Uncle Pat is an associate of theirs who has a farm upstate, and they bury some of their dead bodies up there. But now that he's moving to Florida, they got to get rid of the bodies before they're discovered. Chris is unhappy to be going with Tony B because when they were kids, Tony B used to pick on him and make him feel bad. Meanwhile, Janice goes to her anger management class. She's talking over everyone, trying to make herself the center of attention. And there's this really funny scene where she begins talking about, how passionate she is about civil rights movement and marching and everything like that. But then she says something completely racist. Really funny scene. Her classmate tells her the lesson that they're trying to teach there, which is that other people make her mad, but she's the one who has the reaction and she's the one who pays the consequences for it. So they're trying to teach her how to keep her emotions in check and not explode at people. And she actually takes the message to heart, surprisingly. But meanwhile, Chris and Tony B head up to Uncle Pat's farm. Despite a rough beginning, they actually start to bond as they dig up bodies, a wholesome family activity. However, when Tony arrives, their old habits start to kick in, and he and Tony B start picking on Chris, just like when they were all kids. They start mocking him for his sobriety, which hurts Christopher's feelings. He tries to play it off, but when he's driving home the next day, he starts to cry. And it might seem like a little thing, especially for these guys since they're all murderers, but I can really relate to where Christopher's coming from here. Sometimes what seems like harmless bullying at times can really hurt someone, especially since, Chris really looks up to these two and felt like he could trust them, and their mocking really feels like a betrayal to him, and that's why he's reacting so badly to it. Meanwhile, Janice has a completely different attitude after her therapy. She accepts responsibility for her actions. She even apologizes to Tony for everything she did to him. And she really starts acting calm and nice to everyone around her. She's actually pleasant to be around. Tony goes over to dinner at their house, and he starts to be really resentful for her positive change. Tony really hates to see anyone improving themselves because he can't do it himself, and he's resentful when he sees it in others. he decides to provoke her by bringing up her son Hal, or Harpo, who she abandoned. And this really gets under her skin, and she ends up flipping out and trying to attack Tony. And he has this little smirk on his face when he does it too. And I know people say that it's, Janice wasn't being real about her change. She was just acting like it. And this is proof that, she hasn't really changed. But I will say that this is the lowest I've ever thought of Tony. This was so incredibly petty. There was no point to doing this. It didn't accomplish anything. And, whether or not the change was real in Janice, she was acting nice. And if you're acting nice to people, then you are nice, at least to be around. Especially compared to Tony, who can't, act nice to save his life. He always undermines himself and flips out and makes the wrong choices. So I really look down on Tony for this moment. It's probably the lowest I've ever thought of him. And then he walks away as the episode ends. And just like the first episode of season 4, this is one of the only episodes, I think, besides that one, that has the camera continue to roll footage over the credits. It's one of the instances of weird editing in this episode too. That earlier, when Carmela sees her old fling, Robert Wegler, and she tells him that she's getting back with Tony, even though she's not. That's just a defense mechanism of hers. There's this really weird, slow edit and then a wipe. Very strange, stands out of place, but as I pointed out, a lot of episodes have some weird editing from the different directors they had in charge of each episode. But that is the episode Cold Cuts. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next Soprano log coming soon. I wonder where my patrons are eating their Sunday dinner. Hunter, Tommy Smith, Abdallah Alamari, George Jones, Russell, Sean, Graham, Rooftop, Rico Bellick, Heart of Markness, Broccoli, Isaiah, Placenta Juan, Logan, Clean, John Reyna, Lance Klump, Jesse Sterling, Andrew Stewart, and James.